Oh.
So I have questions on behalf of Vic. The first question is, when people think of the PR position, a lot of people think about how that person manages our social media accounts. How do you plan to inform members and the community about AP Samahan besides using our social media accounts?
I think other ways you can use it. One example would be GBM. A lot of people come to GBM, especially like certain times of the year, and like especially when certain events are coming up, it's like very important to drill that these events are coming up, such as high school conference, friendship games, FCN, all these, even events that aren't even like within our org, like outside our org, like SC Pasta, like it's very important to let people know what's going on in our community. So doing that at GBM is very important. Word of mouth is very important. We have GroupMe these days. Like people look at those technology is changing. That's very important to like look at like all your different aspects.
Okay, and I have a couple audience questions. As PR, how would you reach out to other organizations to create connections with different non-Filipino oriented organizations? And what type of ideas/events did you have in mind if we do have events held together with other organizations? And I can repeat that.
Yeah, can you repeat it one more time, please?
Mm-hmm. As PR, how would you reach out to other organizations to create connections with different non-Filipino oriented organizations? And what type of ideas/events did you have in mind if we do have events held together with other organizations?
I think since we are a cultural organization, I think that I would reach out, especially like I will help us reach out to other organizations, but especially other cultural organizations, since they understand what we're about and they have just the same idea of like what we're advocating for. So this could be like within the API community, as well as like we can reach out to other, maybe even more like distant cultures, such as like the Latino community as well, like other cultures as that as well. Can you repeat the second question, please? Oh, how would I do this? I think it's just like finding similarities in these cultures as well, because even though cultures seem really different at first, like once you learn more and more about how cultures are intertwined and how we're more alike, that's what gets people in different cultures to bond. For example, like when we talk about like the movement with AP Samhan, some people connect that to Cesar Chavez and like his movement, and like using things like that can really like connect the different cultures and realize we're not as different as we seem and bond, and we'll get to know the other orgs that way.
And the next question is, how will you deal with the feeling of doing the same job over and over again?
I've actually thought about this, and besides like the love of like Samahan and stuff too, I think like another way I've heard this question is like, it's kind of like monotonous, like posting again and again about things, and like how do you do it since you're not planning some big event like high school conference or friendship games. But I think publicity is incorporated in all of these events, and that's why it's so important. Like all these events need publicity. Like how do people find out about it? How do people know information about it? And public relations is like, it's such an important component within like pretty much the whole school year. Like how is everyone gonna find out about these events unless you publicize it? Like that's how people come out. Yeah, it's very important to do that. And like it does seem monotonous, but it's different events, and I don't think that doesn't make it monotonous, because high school conference is different every year because there's different themes. FCN is always different. It's never going to be the same exact FCN, and the way you publicize it as well is always going to be interesting. I don't think it'll ever be monotonous, especially like it's exciting that these events are coming up. Like I wouldn't like be like bored or sad, like, oh my gosh, I have to post about this. I would be very excited letting people know, like, please come out to our event. We worked very hard on this and you will enjoy it to the full extent. So I'll always be looking forward to promote these events, because this is our org, and like I represent it if I become the public relations coordinator. And like when people come out to see it, I'll know it's because they heard it through us, and like they trusted us to know, like looking at some Instagram post or like hearing it through their friend, like, oh, I trust you enough to, I'm gonna spend my Friday night and go like to your Filipino culture night because I think it's worthy of seeing it. And maybe that was just why the way like we conveyed it, or because we had implemented it enough times. So that's why I think like it's Like, you should never skimp out on public relations because that's how people find it out. You know, some people though, like I've heard people who don't go to events because I didn't hear enough information about it, or like I didn't hear enough about it, or like the way they posted about it, like it didn't really seem interesting. So that's why like I want to work really hard to like increase our participation, make it more interesting, like through different ways to get people more excited about these things because they are excited or exciting. The thing is just like people don't know about it sometimes, and that's why communication is such a foundation to let people know like this is what's up, like this is what we're doing, because it's just like there's two ends and to connect them together is so important. Not always easy, but it's important.
And I have one more question for Vic. So, how will you work with the E-Board to ensure that you get the information about their events in time in order for you to publicize their events and programs?
I think deadlines are very important and they should be really concrete. I thought about this idea as if I create a window where like I let them like let me know when they want me to like have things posted, you know, on the newsletter, etc., etc. But the deadline is very concrete. It's very like set in stone. Once we pass the deadline, I'm not letting anyone like, you know, I'll post your thing, but I'll post it later. It's very important to like drill in the deadlines because it's communication. Like you have to meet me halfway because in order for me to do my job to the fullest extent, like we have to communicate together. Like I can't be taking the heavy burden, or I can't be doing like if someone asks me to post something as well, like I would try to do it like on time to the fullest extent, like spend like good time on it, like make a good graphic, like things like that. So it's just like it's always about meeting each other halfway. So if they meet, you know, my requirements, like I'll meet theirs. So yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.